Hey guys, Augustin here, and today I'd like to go over the build I've chosen as my league starter. So let's start with pros and cons. First, we have a brand's smooth playstyle, then high damage, as well as great scaling with gear. On the other hand, we have bad defenses, as in the current meta, as well as buying good gear will be very expensive later. So now let's move on to the PvP and the leveling part of the build. So leveling should be pretty straightforward on this build. First you're going to take Runebinder as well as Brand Cluster, and at the level of 12 you can use Stormbrand, and after that just go for Elemental Overload and you should be mostly fine. One thing I would like to mention is that don't forget to do your added lightning damage recipe at the level of 14. This will make Marvel very easy. And after that, very close to the level of 67, you're going to transition to low life with Petrified Blood, so keep that in mind. And try to read notes before you league start, just to have a better understanding of what you're doing. Moving to the second PvP, after the campaign, we've got several changes. First, at least for this PvP, it should be pretty straightforward. I will talk about the gear a bit later, but the skill tree is easy to follow. One thing I would like to mention that at the time of the recording, this cluster currently gives you nothing, but in the upcoming league it will be changed to something very powerful for our build. And that's mostly it about the second PvP. We've also got two setups with cluster and no cluster, and I will talk about it during the items part of the video. So talking about actual items, I've divided them into 4 steps which you can follow. I would start by buying 2 Singularity Scepters. They got heavily buffed in 3.19 and they will be best in slot until better ones. Then I would buy a Tabula or a Corrupted 6 link for a lot of damage, and after that I will buy either Alpha's Howl or the Gull. You can choose whichever one is cheaper or the one you prefer more. So moving on to step number 2, constantly check the prices of these and try to snipe cheap items, but at the same time also buy or craft gloves, belt and amulet with increased brand attachment range. So moving on to Impulsa, it is very big for our clear because shocks are gonna spread quickly and then the enemies will blow up. It's very good for our clear speed. And to finish it, we've got step number 4. Glorious Vanity gives us a lot of energy shield. +1 or +2 wands give us damage, and then I would try to buy or craft a 7 link helmet. That's gonna be very expensive, but it's a good upgrade, and more clusters are just generic damage and quality of life. Moving to stats that I would look for on some gear, I would personally look for a lot of brand attachment range. It is a mandatory quality of life as well as a clear function of the build. It's very important. Then you should understand that clusters is the most value for your DPS. Even if you drop very important passives on the passive tree, clusters will give you much more. And to finish it up, look for crit multi, flat damage, and +1 to all as well as lightning spells. Increased damage is also nice and it gives you a lot of DPS. Then I would consider viewing life on items that's half its value, because we're using Petrified Blood, and usually if you can get better items without life, it's better than having shit items with some life on it. So now I would like to transition to the best PvP that we've got this league for Stormbrand. These items are all mirror tier, but if you want to upgrade from the previous PvP, just get some of these mods and your build will be much better. I will leave it in the description and you will be able to look what we've got here. And now I'd like to mention some things that are very important to understand when you're playing this build. Firstly, whenever you are buying new items, always put them into the POB of your own character before buying them to see how much value you get from these items. Secondly, more advanced items like the mirror tier helmet will require you either lots of currency to craft or buy. Be ready to spend it, the build is not cheap. One thing I'd like to mention is the use of a unique axe in my second weapon slot to trigger Rampage. This item simulates Headhunter in a way, and it's very cheap. To properly use it, enter the map, change your weapon set to the axe, kill a few mobs until you get Rampage, and then change your weapon back to wands. It's a nice quality of life that I find useful. Quick note, don't put auras into your wands, because when you change to axe, they will turn off, which is annoying. Lastly, I would like to thank a person who inspired me to play this build and make a guide on it. His name is Dezelmain. And don't forget to check out his streams and a Discord channel. You can learn a lot about brands there. I will leave his Twitch and Discord in the description down below. In conclusion, this build brings back a glass cannon experience from previous leagues, which I missed a lot. Despite the build having such strong downsides as being not beginner friendly and having bad defenses, I think it's a cool build for people who want to play brands again. Let me know in the comments if I have missed anything in this guide. I will update the pinned comment in that case. I wish you a happy league start and see ya.
Okay, let's go. I'm here now. We can win.
Pop ult or something.